I want to thank you so much for joining us today from Valdymas Intelligence. Today we're talking about quantum leap thinking. I want to appreciate everyone who's always joined this webinar series consistently every month. I'm sure you're making a lot to do with the knowledge gained, and you always have the opportunity to view the video again on my YouTube page. So that's the technical advantage of technology that we get to enjoy in this generation. So today we're talking about quantum leap thinking, and I even want to tell you that even the platform we're using today to discuss is a product of some leaping in thinking that broke the barrier of what was possible and what was impossible. A couple of years ago, maybe some 3 decades ago, we don't have a platform where I can actually be speaking like this, and everywhere across the world, people can actually join and listen to me in real time. I probably would have to take a lot of gadgets to even record a video of this kind of size and be able to send it to people across the world. So I want to appreciate everyone for your consistency. Today we're talking about quantum leap thinking. I am Dr. Joshua Kolawole. I'm a lean agile transformational leadership trainer. And I'll be taking you through how to adapt your thinking to a level where it's beyond just ordinary. You make choices that are not just general, but your choices becomes transformational. And that's the key goal of what I love to talk about, and that's the idea of what we're sharing here today. Um, Sorry, just a moment. I think the sharing stopped. Um, okay, so I'm resharing again. All right, brilliant. So the first thing I'd like you to know about quantum leap is that it is as you think. The way you think determines the quality of outcomes that you're able to generate. There is no two-way about it. I always emphasize the fact that thinking dwells on learning. But the advantage with quantum leap thinking is even if you associate yourself with someone who is leaping, you can also leap if you associate closely. And if you change the quality of the knowledge you expose your mind to, you can also leap. I would be making two classical examples from maybe the difference between classical physics and quantum physics. And I'll be talking about the difference between basic economics and maybe the behavioral part of economics. If you look at an electron in an orbital, like in that imaginary space about the nucleus of an atom, you see the electron maintains speed at a constant speed. It keeps traveling round and round the orbital, just like the image you have. Let me, I want to make some notation here. So you see this electron traveling around this orbital at a constant speed, but all of a sudden it gains energy and moves from this level and jumps to another orbital where there's a difference in energy, there's a difference in speed, definitely. There's a difference in the amount of maybe achievement or maybe in terms of color radiated. There's a difference. So that's the difference in the glory, in the popularity, in the impact of what the electron is able to do. This is at quantum level. This does not align with Newtonian physics, which says an object will continue in a state of rest, or if it's in uniform motion, will continue at constant velocity, except it's acted upon by an external force. But here we didn't see any external force. All we just saw is that there's a dramatic change in the rate at which the electron just starts moving and then it jumps to a higher orbital level. So that is what we call a quantum leap. That's for classical and quantum physics. But when we come to behavioral economics too, you see a man. We all make a very crucial choices. We make funny choices, if I could say it that way. A psychologist wrote about man, and that's done. And he mentioned how predictably irrational we can be in the choices we make because at behavioral level, several factors affect the way we think. So that is like just a general concept about quantum leap thinking, just relating it to what we have in our physical life. But today, I would like us to please. You're free to unmute at any time, or maybe just drop a chat and ask question, or use the reaction button, or use the chat room. I want this to be a bit I want some activity in this presentation, as much as possible that I can get, please. I don't just want us to listen all through. Please, at some point, you can drop some chat. Anything that strikes you, anything that you think this is of import, please just feel free to list them. So the gist about life is that if you continue to think the way you have always thought, or do the things you do the way you've always done them, you will continue to get the current level of outcomes you're getting. So this is the meaning of this. At every point, you must question that: is there a better way of doing this thing? Is there a higher way of thinking that I've really not achieved? The reason why you say, I want to move from my BSc to an MSc, is not because you want to get a certificate called paper. The reason is that I want to move to a higher level of thinking. When you pursue a different quantum of knowledge, it is expected that the knowledge system, the learning system, reprocesses your mind and changes the way you think, the way you see, the way you analyze, the way you hear. So you're actually not going to get a degree, an extra degree. You're actually going to subject your mind to another level of thinking. When you say, I'm moving from an MSc to a PhD, what you're doing is, I want to go and subject my mind to a new level of thinking. And it is that new level of thinking that can actually alter the course and the progression of your mind. When you say, I want to move from a role in an organization and I want to put myself out there to serve others transformatively, to sacrifice, to make sure I'm the one who shows up the earliest, to make sure I'm the one who closed the latest, to make sure I'm the one who is responsible for making things happen, to consistently think above and beyond to achieve results for the organization. You may think, I'm just doing my work, or I want to increase the quality of my work. But what you're simply saying is, I'm subjecting my mind to some new level of opportunity to adjust itself, such that it will drop the older thinking pattern and embrace a newer thinking pattern. And when it's embraced a newer thinking pattern, the outcome will continue to change gradually. So at every point, the question you should ask yourself is this the best thinking analysis that my mind, is this the best rational analysis that my mind can produce at this point? If I have a sum of money that is being paid into my account now, I think about, how do I distribute this into different channels? I ask myself again and again and again until the final minute when I make decision. I ask myself again and again to say, is this the best quality of analysis or thinking that is available for me at this time? If I can get more knowledge, I probably would take better decisions. I probably would put myself under a bit more lot of pressure to reanalyze the things I'm doing. So the way you think is actually who you are. That is your being. So when they say human being, there's a three level of humans. We have the human being, we have the human doing, and then we have the human having. So these three layers is existing in every one of us. At every point where the quality of your thinking can be so strong that your human being, that's who you are, your identity. When your human being and your human doing, the actions you take, and then your human having, the things that you think you possess, right? Ownership, what you want to own or take control of. When the point where you are matured enough and you can align these three together, then you will be able to leap consistently, because your being must be responsible for your doing and your doing must be responsible for your having. If you swap it the other way around, that it is what you have that impacts what you do and what you do impacts who you are, then you will be forcing a lot of things against yourself and it will be much more difficult for you to leap. I will talk more about this analysis as we go. So we see the world not as it is, but based on who we are. We interpret our experiences through our mental maps without ever even questioning their accuracy. And that's one ridiculous thing that behavioral economics had brought up more significantly for us, because a lot of times our experiences are analyzed through a certain mental framework. We don't even know how accurate those mental frameworks or mental models are, but we are either have been programmed from childhood, by parents, by maybe even older siblings, uncles in the neighborhood, or friends in the neighborhood. They've actually created some mental maps, some leadership, maybe so some different things we have exposed our minds to, have actually programmed our mind from schools, from different places, religious institutions, as the case may be. So we see the world exactly not as it is in most cases, but what we see is who we have become. So this is what I am saying. If I get 2, 3 people to go into an environment, they will definitely come out with 3 different interpretations. Even when you think they are saying the same thing, in terms of they both enter and say, no, the place is dark, is something. By the time you reanalyze what they are saying individually, you would discover that they're actually seeing based on who they are. And the capacity of what they interpret out of the experience they have gone to see would actually be based on the mental maps and models in their minds. We heard about the popular 12 spies. 2 came back with an excellent report. Even though they saw giants, the other 10 came back with a terrible report. They all saw based on who they were. And it's as simple as that. So I can send 2 people on an errand to do the same job. One will come back to say it was an excellent experience. I really enjoyed it. I learned from it. I thought I'm better skilled, better adapted. And the other will come back and say, no, it's a punishing, gruesome, cruel experience, and I wish I never go back there again. And you ask yourself, what's the difference? The difference is the capacity of the minds of the 2 people. So if you have a person A and a person B, if this person has a higher capacity of thinking and this person just has a lower capacity of thinking, what you would expect is a difference in the outcomes of their life is only a matter of time. So a lot of times 2, 3 people are working together and they think they are friends of equal age, but one of them is already making significant quantum leaps because of the latency of the way the leaps happen. It's like, if I could also liken it to a concept in physics or chemistry where you want to break down a solid to a liquid, and there's a temperature at the point that you call the latent state of fusion, where the system still keeps consuming energy, but at that point you don't see a change in state. And that energy at that point is called the latent heat of fusion. And at that point, you're actually making decisions that can leap you to another state. But people or you yourself may not even see the difference in your environment. So you think, I'm actually giving it my best, but I'm not seeing results. It's not because you're not seeing results. You're actually breaking your inner barriers, your strongholds within you. You're trying to change your consistent nature. You're trying to become someone else. In that process where you're trying to break those lattices, you're actually trying to move to another realm of thinking. That realm of thinking, if you're able to move significantly in that realm of thinking, it's only a matter of time. You will see that massive magnitude change in the way you analyze things in your world. So it's at every point and that's why the importance of this is that when I want to make a decision now, I try to view the decision in the minds of people who are 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, even 40 years sometimes ahead of me. I once told you about a decision I wanted to make many months ago, and I analyzed it that if so person, let me say maybe Dr. Mensa Otabil, will make this same decision. Of course, maybe Dr. Mensa Otabil is more than 3, 4 decades ahead of me. If he's going to make the same decision, what kind of decision do I think he's going to make based on all the learning I've gotten from him? And I was able to arrive at the conclusion that with all the learning I've heard from him, this is the quality of. At that point, that decision wasn't palatable for me. It looked like my body wanted to make the other kind of decision. But I could align in my thinking because I'm able to leap 30, 40 years ahead of me to leverage on the experience of another person, to based on their mental model, to be able to question what I'm about to do and then come to another point. Just a couple of months down the line, I discovered I actually made the right decision. So a lot of times we see the world not based on what is happening exactly. We actually see the world based on who we are. And the most important thing is to keep adapting our thinking so that who we are will continue to evolve. So I defined, or I bring to you, the concept of quantum leaping. Metaphorically used, refers to when you have a dramatic, high impact, transformative change or advancement. It commonly happens suddenly, but it's not a sudden process. I love using the analysis of, you just want to keep growing continuously. People love the incremental model, but that incremental model doesn't take people too far. That's the painful mode. That's the painful thing. We all love, let me just live a world where I'll just be increasing gradually, gradually. Or you want a world where you can make some significant move, but while this person, maybe over 6 years, is here, you may use that 6 years to be on the same level. That's the funniest thing sometimes. Yeah, I'm not saying it always happens 6 years every time. It might be 6 months, it might be 60 months, depending. You may use that 6 years to be at this level, developing your skill, your ability, building social networks, relationship platforms, building systems, serving people, and people will see you serving diligently. But what will happen is, by the time you're leaping, maybe within this you may have increased a little, but it won't be as significant as this person. By the time you're leaping, you're actually living here and you're moving to somewhere here. Now, this person, and maybe this is just 7th year. Now, this person has taken, maybe let's say 8, let's say 10 years to get to this point. You will, in 7 years, jump up to this point. When you jump up to this point, you have created another platform for yourself to go again and then leap. And once you leap the first time, leaping becomes shorter. It becomes shorter and you keep going. Now, this person in a whole lifetime may not be more than this level, maybe level A. You, in just maybe a couple of 12 years, you would have leaped maybe 3 times. So what this person will achieve in their whole lifetime may be what you would do within 10 to 12 years. And so you have the opportunity in a lifetime of, let's say, 50 to 60 years. You have 5 times the quality of results that this person will achieve in a lifetime. And that's the difference in this concept. So it always shows like a dramatic, high impact kind of jump. It takes a lot of pressure. Like I said, I just used years as an example. It may not be years, it may be months. So I can give you an example. We are both colleagues. My other colleague is already training himself in, let's say, data analysis. He's already building himself in understanding cybersecurity. He's doing his master's. He's also developing himself spiritually, maybe fasting, praying, doing stuffs. He's also improving his attitudinal reaction to scenarios. He's always also improving his leadership skills. He makes sure he confesses positively. Time to time, he aligns himself with better minds, greater minds who are thinking better. Now, all these things will be different individual chemical components that at the point where you integrate everything together, a reaction will just happen someday when the kairos, when the moment comes, and the guy will just get a significant opportunity of a job or a contract or a position, and he moves from within us and then goes to become someone else. I have a current, you would have people you've been to school together, and you were surprised by the time you're graduating, you just heard that the guy has moved to become someone else. You might be thinking, oh wow, we're colleagues, we're counterparts. But what you don't get is that there are individual things the person has been doing that at a point, at a kairos moment, when they add up together, they lead to a significant jump in the quality of outcomes in the life of that person. And at every point where there's a significant jump, there's marked improvement in the quality of life, in the standard of living. And so what you're integrating together are multi-factors, and we'll talk about them soon. Now, the quantum leap thinking is a mindset or an approach that is focused on making significant transformative changes rather than small incremental improvement. So the difference is in the mindset. If you make up your mind that I just want this peaceful, comfortable, gentle kind of life where I will be increasing by 1,000, 10,000, you're just comfortable with that, then you're making choices in alignment with that. If you really want to make marked changes, then number one, the quality of the minds of the people you'll be exposing your mind to will be different. You will start listening to people who are 30, 40 years ahead of you, such that you can embrace their own mind. That's the first thing. You will need to listen, you will need to read their books diligently. You will need to read books because you will need to prioritize the feeding of your mind more than even the feeding of your body. Did I say you won't feed your body? You will. But the feeding of your mind then becomes something bigger, something of more importance to you. So every day you're trying to learn an additional principle that you're going to add to what you've been doing and that you're going to diligently improve upon. So if your mindset is about choosing some general schools, general training program, general thing, or you're just looking for something free around you. If they say come and do this, so you're looking for the free version, free pro bono, free something, and you're not looking at, okay, even if I start with this free, my mind is that I need to jump significantly. And once you listen to the free, you're done with it, then you ask that, how do I make a major leap? If you're not the one who writes down a big and audacious vision, if you're not that kind who goes through each year and asking yourself, what major challenging boundary do I want to break this year? Okay, this year I'm going to conquer this program. This year I'm going to subdue this barrier. This year my investment capacity is going to go to $1 million. This year my capacity is going to do this. This year I'm going to challenge this. If you're not ready to challenge existing assumption in your life and embrace bold and innovative move for your life, then you're really not improving. When I'm done with this training today, I already know the things I need to do. I need to refine my CV, refine a new statement of purpose for myself, and I'm already looking at another marked program that I want to do for the next 4 years. If your thinking is transformative, and I know by the time I'm done with the 4-year program, would have turned my thinking all around, changed the way I see, view, analyze things, and then I can expect the quality of outcomes that will subsequently come out of my life to become more significant. So what I am saying is, it is how you see yourself. So when people around me bring option of come and do this, and I analyze it, the first question I ask myself is this going to lead to a transformative change, or is going to lead to just small incremental improvement? When I understand in the analysis that this is just going to be a small increment or improvement or something that, or I ask this question, does this just give this person some comfortable solace? If I understand at that point that this guy is just looking for something comfortable, predictable, that he can just sit down all the rest of his life and not do so much, then I understand that that is not the kind of thinking I want. The kind of thinking I want is that pressured thinking, where year on year I am moving significantly. You want to start a project and you want it to grow and jump at some point, but you want it to grow based on character. You want it to be solid. And that's why you would wait. The initial years will be foundational years that you would have to invest, where your other counterpart is already jumping and pacing and going. It looks like they have left you behind. You are building character here. You're building consistency. You're building competence. You're building. So before you know it, it will take a lucky jump. Just like an example, someone who is building a YouTube channel. You do a lot of videos, you do a lot of things consistently daily, and you don't seem like you're improving or increasing. All of a sudden, you continue to do it constantly, and over a period of 5-6 years, someone spots you someday, you collaborate with that person, things just happen around, timing aligns, and you jump from, let's say, a 10,000 follower, and you jump to 1 million follower all of a sudden. If you do this, then this is where people think, oh, he just came around. But no, he didn't just come around. You have started from this point. So if I could relate it to something like that. So I want you to know that to live and to truly live, you must be willing to take a risk. To be nothing in order to find everything. You will have to take some risk at some point where your life will not look like it's yours. It will look like it's nothing. Because you must be willing to trade off your life to find it. It is who is willing to trade off his life and collaborate with others that would really find his life. To leap before you even look, Mandy Hill. Debbie Ford said, I think at any time of great pain is a time of transformation. That's a fertile time to plant new seed. I want you to know that there's no journey to transformation that is There's no journey onto transformation that is done without the risk of total and fatal failure. Every significant change that must challenge a people's culture, that must challenge your processes or your organizational structure, will always demand some sacrifice for growth, which will be a difficult one, if not an impossible sacrifice. I'm talking to you that the point where this person is investing, a lot of sacrifice is ongoing. Where this person appeared to be jumping, he is sacrificing enough to build the foundation. You can imagine a building going to 4 floors. The amount of money you will sink into the foundation will be different from a building that is just a floor. And that is the difference. So if the quality of your thinking is not making you leap in your mind to say, today I am not seeing myself at some realm, I start seeing myself at the realm of $100,000 or $500,000, or what are the realms, what are the thinking that is operational in the mind of someone that is making $1 million per annum today. If that is what, if you change your thinking and say, no, I'm breaking this barrier and this is the realm I want to be thinking now, then you start listening to those people consistently. It won't happen instantly. It might take a couple of months, years, and maybe requires a lot of training, alignment, collaboration, and everything. But you must shift that thinking, crack that stronghold, crack that barrier, and then gradually challenge all the assumptions around you. And it's only a matter of time you will lead yourself to some dramatic breakthrough. So according to, I'm reading from my book now, on page 303. My book is Transforming the Impossible. Innovations and transformation are always achieved at the terrain of the impossible. Therefore, many leaders just coast along in an organization, not willing to challenge any status quo. They just want to become social loafers. If you will be a leader who will transform even that your department, that your unit, that your new area, transform even your community. If you will be a leader who will transform, then it will mean that you have set yourself on one of the toughest journey in life, but it's also one of the sweetest journey, because you will pay the sacrifice every day. You will pay the price every day. There is a price to pay for quantum leap thinking. And I want you to know that it will require a lot of discipline. You may have to go and reprocess your life from the beginning, like things you've done in the past that you think were wrong. You may have to go back to those things and make peace with them and agree that this is wrong, and be more transparent, be truthful, and come to light of who you are exactly, and then start working from that point. You need to agree on some character flaws in your life, that this is wrong. This poor integrity about money, I need to deal with it. This poor integrity about relationships, I need to deal with it and be clear cut in your decisions. This poor integrity about maybe the way I speak, the way I talk, how I want to deceive people, what you technically call scope, how you tend to scope people. If you don't think all those little minor things are wrong, then you probably may not even be able to transform in the long run. So for you to really be a transforming mind, you need to come to terms with reality with your life and be more sincere with yourself and define what true character means. Because in the journey of embracing bold moves, life will want to press you and test your character. It will test your resolve, your mettle, to see if you're truly willing to give your life for what you desire. And at every point, if you are not tough and sincere and adaptive enough, you will lose out on the battle to transformation. So because of that, it will be great for you to come out and be sincere with yourself, because as you keep challenging existing assumptions, you would also test your own character. So basic incremental gains is what a lot of people, with maybe few ups and downs, is what many people want. And I don't want you to want that, because I know that the rate at which the world is changing will not allow you to be able to enjoy your life if you stick to that basic realm of thinking. Now, I said something the other time that if you would leap, it would be like a mix of so many chemicals. Just like we have several explosives in the world, if you mix maybe some 2-3 chemicals together in the presence of maybe an acid to catalyze the reaction, you will see a major explosion. I know sodium on its own, if you were able to cut sodium metal, even in air, it's pretty reactive, but if you find it in some solution, it's stable. In some organic solution, it's stable. That's where it's being kept. But if you're able to bring it on the top of water, then you see some darting explosive reaction. The same thing with acetone and some other chemicals. The same thing with hydrogen peroxide and some other chemicals. You would see them once they come in, they are independently, individually, they are stable compounds. But when you mix them together at a certain time, then you or temperature, pressure, you see that explosive reaction. That is exactly the concept of transformation and leaping. So ultimately, this is what happens. Your hunger for transformation, your preparedness, you're consistently increasing your capacity, your skill, your ability. You're constantly helping to build a distinctive nature for yourself, carving a niche for yourself. You constantly work on the quality of the culture in your environment to see that it's a culture that loves innovation, that is inspiring, a culture that loves improvement consistently. When you're able to mix that together, you find a way to expose yourself to higher level of knowledge. Listening to professors from Harvard may be a great option for many of us if you're looking from another side of the world. You want to learn from what's happening in one of the world's best institutions, Cambridge, Oxford. You want to learn what's happening in your field in those best institutions. And the best way to do it now that you have YouTube that can provide free knowledge, access to knowledge for you, is just to keep browsing, learning about those schools, about professors, leading authorities in that your field, and then you learn from them, and those knowledge changes who you are over time. Then you start collaborating. So part of the collaboration is to go to conferences, meet with people, network with them, workshops, seminars, buy their books. It's part of working with them. When you have their books, you read them, you have access to their videotapes, you listen consistently until someday you would have a breakthrough thinking. And it's also a function of timing. You would have a form of breakthrough thinking, and it will become clear to you what to do next. And when you embrace that breakthrough thinking, you will now have to work with it. If this is a point where you have that breakthrough thinking, you have to work on it consistently over time. Consistently, remember, you have built a capacity. You have to work consistently over time, and then at a point you start seeing some leaping. You start leaping. The more you pay the price, you leap. But the challenge is that at every point it's going to test your capacity. So it's going to it's going to look like it's taking you down, and then you get to your valley of despair. If you don't give up in the valley of despair, then you make it out and leap. Then if you are ready to go the next mile again, you go this way and then you leap. So sometimes in the journey to leaping, you actually see yourself going down and you feel like the whole world is against me. And that is why people give up at this valley of despair, and they say, no, I'll just revert back to my initial model of thinking. And then you go back to your result, initial result. But if you're able to pull through with strength, with consistency, and you believe your life depends on it, then you will pull through and get to the higher level. Go and ask any great achievement, and just like you would know, if I want to get an MSc now, I will start with the joy of, okay, I have a BSc, I want to go for an MSc. Maybe you will be able to relate with this better. Or I have 10,000 followers, I want to go to 100,000 followers. There are things you will need to do that will first disrupt your life. You have to go for lectures, write exam, write test, do a lot of things. All these things will test your strength. But by the time you're able to survive them, it gradually brings you to the realization of the MSc. If you're going to get 100,000 followers, you may need to now start attending programs, show yourself on different video shoots, do videos consistently every day, every week, every month. Try to now become more sociable, make phone calls, buy other people's contact, do a lot of things, and then you will gradually jump to this point where you'll be at 100,000 followers. And if you say, okay, I'm now ready to go to 1 million, then you start paying the price of 1 million again. Maybe because it's 1 million, that will take you way, way down. But at this point, your thinking is actually improving. Your thinking is improving, but your reality looks like it is going down. That's the problem. You may not even be able to afford the clothes you're affording before. You may not be able to do the trip you used to do before. You may not, just because you want to achieve the next level of leap. You may not be able to do a lot of things in the physical reality, but in your thinking, you're actually expanding and enlarging. So if you're able to survive this valley of despair again, you will need collaboration with people who have done it ahead of you. There is no two way. If I want to buy a house in the United States, I will need to talk to people who have bought houses before. I will need to talk with realtors. I will need to collaborate with builders, with property managers. I will need to just leverage their knowledge, their information until my own breakthrough ideas will come. And then I will need to learn. I will understand what the culture is, even though I am hungry. So a lot of times you may be hungry for something, but there are several other factors, just like individual chemicals, that until you mix everything together before you have that explosion. So when you're not seeing such results and you know that you're not putting in things, then you know that you're probably not on a journey to leaping. But if you're truly on a journey to leaping yourself, then you will understand where you're going through this valley. And once you survive this valley, it will take you to 1 million follower, or it will take you to a PhD, or it will take you to maybe owning a building, or it will take you to owning a larger complex, maybe a trading complex, if that is what you so wish. And so before you know it, in a space of 5, 10 years, you will see yourself progressively leaping in different areas of your life. Don't forget, this academic credential, maybe plus your spiritual development, plus your attitudinal development, plus your faith level, plus your let's say financial discipline, plus your, all these things will be individual chemicals in your life, plus your investment, plus your parents' investment, plus your communal or contextual advantages. If you live in the United States, there are some advantages you have. If you live in the United Kingdom, if you live in Nigeria, there are some advantages you have. Just like if you live in all those regions, there will be some disadvantages you would have. So, plus all these things, individually, all these things are standalone. But someday, a timing will come, which we all call Kairos moment. A timing will come where, depending on all the capacity of integration of all these things, that timing will lead to transformation, will lead to leaping. And that is the explosive point. But if you don't have all these components integrally ready, such that they can all fuse with themselves and align, you may impact the quality of transformation you would have. And that is why a lot of people fall back to just general marginal changes. But it all happens in your mind. And every time your thinking should be asking, what is the standard? What is the standard at this point? What would have been the standard for me to learn? What's the standard for me to know? How many hours am I expected to invest into this? These are the key things that must run through your mind if you're really ready for transformation. And so I know the next questions that will keep rambling through your mind is that, so if I really want to leap in my thinking, what are the exact things I need to do? I want these things more practicable. Can you help me break it down? The first thing is that, okay, of course, people had actually studied the world and they've realized that really, if you analyze everybody from, let me say, from Adam till date, who had actually lived in their thinking and changed the quality of outcomes of their life. I will use, for some, I may use religious people, and for some, I will use people more advanced in business world. If you look at the first thing I have to the left of my screen, I said creativity. If you really will be a quantum leap thinker, your mind from this point onward must believe that you can create. You must start thinking about, how can I create something? Now, there are three basic things that would help you if you really want to go on the journey to transformation. You are either creating a message for the world. As I am talking to you now, my message is the message of transformation. And so it is clear, it's distinct. And that is a level of leaping in thinking. If you would become a great mind, you will have a clear message in your tongue that at every point where people know you, they will say, if it's about that guy, this is exactly what he would say. If people cannot identify a clear message with you, then you need to start asking questions. Then you probably may not be on the journey to transformation. That's what I'm saying. You may be leading a general life. Consistently, you would see some statements, some message that you have for your world. You would have either the message of people should stand by integrity, stand by intelligence, innovation. You would have a word, a message for the world. So let me give you a very practical example. Jesus Christ, he came, the kingdom of God is at hand. Everybody should repent and change their way. That's a message for the world. If you consistently stick with the message over time, you will soar very high. You will start learning more about that message. That message will start testing your character and resolve. And that's what happens simply to, maybe if you say men of God in the Christian world, or even in non-Christian settings. If you get a man who stands consistently with a message and is clear about it, Barack Obama, Audacity of Hope, he had a single message. If you Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, you can keep naming people who had a clear message of freedom for the world. Ellen Keller, people who had a clear message of freedom for. If you have a message, so if you're asking yourself, what can I do? Do you have a message for your world? Have you found a problem in your world and that you think your voice would count about that problem? And if yes is the answer, you don't need to be able to help 10,000 people on day one. In fact, you may not be able to help one person on day one, but can you speak up for that person? Even if they won't help the person. Until the day NSAS became a national disaster, some people had been speaking individually at some point, but there's a day the chemical reaction came together, independent elements came together, and NSAS actually became ending SARS in Nigeria. So what I am saying in essence is that, do you have a message? Have you found a problem? Do you have a message for the world? Then you are already leaping in your thinking. And if you want to multiply your outcomes in life, you must stick with that message, learn more about that message, go for conferences, trainings, start collaborating with people about that message. If there's a product that message can sell, then use that message to create the product. If there's a platform that message can sell, use that message to start creating the platform. If there's a community you can build, start building community of people. If you believe the world deserves universal health coverage, and you don't think people should pay for healthcare, then that might be a message for the world. Some people believe in equity, fairness in the distribution of health resources. That's a message for the world. The WHO DG believed in a world where malaria has a vaccine, and they are getting at it now. That's a message for the world. If you have a message, then you start thinking, can my message create a product? Can my message create a service? Can my message create a platform? Can my message build community of people, like-minded people who believe in that message? That's the same principle of building a church. That's the same principle of building a mosque. That's the same principle of building a synagogue, a temple. People have a message for the world. It may be your own primary message or a secondary message that you have gotten from someone else, and you believe in it, and then you carry it. If you have a message, so ask yourself, what message do I have? I have a message of transforming the impossible. I believe people can achieve maximal results if they put a lot of pressure on themselves. If they are ready to go through the discipline, the excellence, and the wisdom required to transform themselves, it's only a matter of time. It might first look like you're going down, things aren't working, I'm hungry, starving myself, but at the point they will get to where all the elements would work together and they will move to a higher level. And when they get to that level, they stabilize a little there, develop more character strength, more capacity at that point, and they say, okay, I want to leap to the next mountain again. And so life is always positioning different mountains ahead of you, different mountains, and then you ask yourself if you're ready. So you always have bigger mountains. So if you combine faith, excellence, wisdom, discipline, consistency, all those things at this point, at the level that is equal to 10,000 joules, if you can allow me use joules as energy. If you will get to this point, then you will need to pay the price to ascend this transformative height. When you want to go, you will have to come down here to the valley. And that is where David had to say, technically, if I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but I can say it in a transformative concept where you could say you walk through the valley of despair if you're using the Kubler-Ross cycle of change. So it's the same thing. A valley is a depression between two mountains, and because of that, it will look like everything is not working. In fact, you may start cursing yourself at this point, like maybe my life is not improving. But what you don't know is that you're actually going down to pay the price for you to rise to this top. And if you can pay, if you get here again, you build capacity again, your faith level, your excellence level, your wisdom level, your love level, your just name it, your power level, all those things, your dominance level, your influence level, your inheritance level, the quality of. So what I am saying the other time when I was talking about being is that the identity that is responsible for staying at this height is different from the identity for staying at this height. If this is identity 1, this is identity 2, and this is identity 3, you need a lot of new spirit of leadership to move from identity 1 to identity 2. Because you need that spirit of leadership, life will have to take you through the valley where that spirit of leadership is built, where the pain is built, and that's why you would have to let go of your money to buy books, let go of your time to listen to videos consistently. You would have to avoid Instagram. You have to break free from the spirit of Facebook. You have to now go to YouTube and learn and listen to that 1 hour video. You know, I smile a lot when people tell me, just do 8-minute video. That's what people can consume. I just understand that what you're talking about is the massive people who just want external change. If the point where people become more serious and they want transformation, they won't mind if the video is 2 hours. I've listened to several 4-6 hours video in my short life. Is because I am going for transformation. That's the difference between someone who is thinking for transformation and someone who is thinking for just marginal change. If you are the kind that loves 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 12 minutes, 4 minutes, or you love shorts, what you're telling yourself is you just want general change around you. You are not settling for transformation. The day you commit to learn data analysis and you see a 12-hour video and you're ready to sit down from Sunday morning 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and devour that 12-hour video, that's the day you are on the way to transformation. Those are your valley of despair. That is the day you commit to greatness. If all you want is just a short, a small video that will end in 10 minutes so that it won't waste your time, what you're telling yourself is you're not ready for a great transformative change. So I laugh when people advise me just do 8-minute video. I understand where that thinking is coming from. That's the general thinking that operates in the world. The thinking that leads to transformation is a thinking that puts a lot of extra pressure, of commitment, of diligence, of excellence, and you're ready to go it even if the video is 24 hours. And you will see some people who actually do 12 hours video and people still watch it. Because if you're able to communicate a clear message that can change the world, or that is putting pressure on people to transform themselves, very few as they might be ultimately, the few people who want transformation or who eventually grow somehow from the realm of change to the realm of transformation, they will come and they will come and listen to that video. So I want to urge you, ask yourself the question, when people are dropping 50 naira, when people are dropping 500 naira, are you actually dropping 50 naira to buy the 50 naira book, or you're going for books that are more expensive and more valuable? More importantly, value is more important than the cost, please. More valuable, where the thinking from that book is more superior, is more globally tested. There are great principles that would take you. So in your valley of despair, you will spend money. You will go to school, you go to classes, you would have to consult with mentors, you would have to meet with coaches, and all those things. Hello? 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 What's happening? Okay. So you would have to consistently pay a lot of prices at this value of despair before you are able to translate yourself to the next time. And the same thing happens again. When you're done with this and you stabilize at this, life will ask you, do you want to go to the next level? Let's say I have investment of 10 million here. He will ask me, okay, you want to go to 20 million? You have to become a different person in terms of your being. You have to be a different person in terms of your doing, and you have to be a different person in terms of your having. But it is better, it's your being that comes first, that now influence your actions, and then your actions influence. That means I have to define who I need to be able to handle 20 million naira investment. And then I have to ask myself who I need to be or what I need to be doing to be able to maintain this $20 million investment. And then I have to ask myself, what are the things I would have to have? So there's the concept of human being, and then you go again, you go to this next level. Let's say this is $40 million. You understand? This is another level of identity. It will require another level of faith, another level of action, another level of discipline, another level of influence, another level of inheritance, another level of wisdom, another level of love, another level of dominance, another level of academic capacity. All these things will come to play. And the day this individual thing mixes together with your culture, your context, your collaboration, you will see yourself leap and you get to this height again. When you get to this height, you ask yourself, do I want to go to the next height? ID4. And that's the concept of transformation. So you also may have a product that you're selling or a service that you're trying to bring to bear. If I mention air peace now, we all know what air peace stands for on the African continent. The man was able to come up with a product. But if you ask him one-on-one, he would have a message that is actually backing up his product. And now he has created a platform, which is the Air Peace Airline, which actually conveys people from a point A to a point B, serving them African meals, making their life better at a cheaper rate. Affordability. Affordability with comfort, adapting to people's culture and context. And because of that, he's being able to transform that world. So you have community building. You will have to build a community of people where there will be collaboration and connection with them. And that connection is so important. You must be able to connect with the problems in your community. So don't just live in your environment. Listen to your environment. Listen to the challenges. The challenges I connect with every time in community is when I notice a low level of knowledge in that community. I love to teach. I love to pass across knowledge. I love to, because I know learning is critical to change. Learning is critical to transformation. And then you contribute to a cause. When people notice that you contribute to a cause, then they will open more doors for you transformatively. So I want to read this to you, page 307 from my book, Transforming the Impossible. The character development, the quantum leap thinking, and the mind shift required for this realm of transformation is embedded in tenacious service with love. You must be given to a life of wanting to serve people with love. The love for the people, the love for your job, the love for your nation, and the love for the transformation of systems. Because the mental complexity operational at this realm is about being creative, also allowing for co-creation, systems thinking, interdependent innovation in solving problems of humanity, especially at a larger scale. The more you're able to make the scale large, the better it will be. The people who will transform themselves would have an amazing self-direction. They will be decisive and they will have good personal responsibility. You won't be people who look away from other people's problems. They will be moved beyond the realm of competitiveness. If you find yourself still competing with people, you're probably not on the journey to transformation. They'll move to the realm of complementing each other, working together and transforming a system. These are people with the leaping mind. This is who should seek to become or maintain or improve it. I hope I've been able to explain this concept. I would like to use two people's example. Henry Ford, quantum leap thinker. He introduced an assembly line. He saw a problem. He needed to reduce the time taken to finish building a car. So everything is not really about money, but it might ultimately even go to wealth. But ultimately, from an excellent breakthrough thinking, he was able to reduce the time in which they build car from 12 hours to 90 minutes, just because they created an assembly line, which is a moving piece. So at each station, there are people standing at different points. If this person is supposed to just fix the mirrors of the car, this person is supposed to fix the windshield, this person is supposed to insert the engine, this person is supposed to start the gear. At different point, then this person becomes a professional at fixing mirror, professional at fixing windshield, professional at fixing engine, professional at fixing gear. So over time, every day, this person is always fixing gear. So he knows how to do it more exceptionally and way better. More exceptionally, way better. More exceptionally, way better. So over time, they were able to crash the time required from 12 hours to 90 minutes to finish a car along a chain. So they ultimately were able to build the Model T vehicle, which became a major success in the early 1900s. And of course, because of that, there will now be standardization of parts. So they were able to think through a breakthrough thinking as at then. They saw a problem in the way they were doing things. So as a transformative thinker, the work you're doing currently, you must start thinking deeply, seeing problems, and then working your way on how to solve it. Collaborating with the leadership, talking to people about it, ensuring you're making things happen to solve problems. Once there's a problem, you have to jump at it. It may first weigh you down, but you bounce back and then start working at it. So you must be someone who has the inner eye, the visionary eye. He also saw another problem then about the workforce, the employee. And what he did was he doubled their pay. By doubling their pay, he motivated them externally a bit more, But more internally is the fact that he empowered them to be able to buy the cars they were producing, which was more important. Now they have more money for trainings, more money for building their skills, and then he was able to attract more skilled labor to come and do something great. And thereby he expanded the market. So another realm of thinking, one vision is about the process. This is about the process for making, this is about people that was working, and this is about the business environment. In the business environment, there's the economies of scale. There's impact on the society. Ultimately, he was able to create. So sometimes when you leap at a realm, there is an impact on your environment. And that's why the definition of my definition for transformation, if you always remember my definition for transformation, I always emphasize the part of your noble impact in your society. The noble impact that you're able to make in your society is crucial to transformation, because ultimately it will be about that socio-economic impact, either directly or indirectly to your environment. And that's just the key. So whatever you do, ultimately, transformation is a complete change in the quality of outcomes and standard of living of an individual or a people that happens through well-defined processes which cause positive transitions and quantum leaps in the maturity of the minds of the people, their capabilities, the value they create, their uniqueness, and the noble impact they make on their social systems, directly or indirectly. So that is an example from Ford. The second example is this man, John Harrison. He was later named the father of marine chronometer, the Seawatch. He was a self-educated English carpenter and a clockmaker. He had several quantum leaps in his single lifetime from H1 to H4. If you look at H4, H4 is just a couple of 3 pounds and 5 inches long. But they started from something big, 75 pounds. So you can see 23 pounds to 20. So that means H1 was 75 pounds. H2 is a lot bigger, 86 pounds. H3 dropped to 60 pounds. But because of several consistency, and the problem he wanted to solve was the ability to locate a ship's precise location. So you will wonder, up to this point, people really didn't know ship's precise location at sea. That's the truth. They had to use the best guess. And that's why people sail to neighboring communities before they now find their way back to their own community. Because while drifting, storms, and all those things may push the ship away from the initial set direction, and then they find themselves wandering on water for months. We've read about that in several history books, until people like this came around, and for 47 years consistently he kept on improving a solution. So whatever field you are, what's the problem you have found? Have you started thinking about a message of, I want to solve the ship's precise location at sea? Have you thought about creating a platform, a product? Have you talked about building a community? Have you talked about contribution to a cause? Those are the key things that will show that you have a quantum leap thinking, and that is what actually drives the idea. I want to thank you so much for your attention. I don't know if someone has a question. I would just love to be open to one single question before we wrap it up today. Thank you so much, everyone who's made time out to join. I appreciate each and every one of us for your time. Thank you. It's question time. You can either type it in the chat. I have the chat opened on my screen, or you can unmute and just talk about it. Question, please. Question, please. Question, please. All right. If in 5 to 10 seconds I don't get any chat, or I don't get anyone to unmute, I then believe, as a quantum leap thinker, that I've delivered an excellent teaching. And hopefully you would have great time to listen and listen. And I hope I've breaking some barriers in your mind that would make your thinking not be that of a general person, and make you start analyzing things from a bigger perspective. deeper, bigger, stronger, and you're always questioning what you do. Okay, so I have a question in the chat. How does one maintain positive mindsets towards being successful without support? Excellent question. I said something at the beginning. I said you see the world based on who you are, not based on what exactly it is. The reason why you mentioned without support is because currently, based on who you are, you thought you're actually without support. I can tell you 10,000 things in the atmosphere is supporting your existence. The oxygen you breathe, so many things around you, the food you eat, the transportation system that had been created before you're born, the environment. So it could have its positive support side and negative support side. But I guess what you mean is you want support from families, friends, relatives, maybe government. So at some point, what I realize is if I am living amongst you in, let's say, Ilorin, Nigeria, and I start telling you gradually that I need to go to Lagos, and I come tomorrow morning again, I need to go to Lagos, and I come next tomorrow, I need to go to Lagos, and I keep saying it every day. I need to go to Lagos because I want to go and get interviews. I need to go to Lagos because I need to go and buy something. I need to. One day, one of you will call me, sorry, what exactly, why do you want to go to Lagos? People will start asking when they see that you have a consistent message in your mouth. I want to have an MSc. I want to have, if I keep saying it, someday people will gather money and say, okay, this is money. Go and do the MSc. Don't kill us. So what I've noticed is that because we are not consistent in what we want and what we declare and who we are, because some people will say they want to do something and they collected money yesterday and they squandered it. Now you have lost character. That's why you don't get support. You don't have credibility to get support. Now, if you're a person of character, you have built character sense, if you do something consistently, you would rally that support automatically from your environment. Trust me, people will drop what they are doing to support you. That's because you have now set out on a consistent journey. When people see that you're doing something consistently, you will support. I can also give a very funny example. It might be funny because I'm even referring to myself now. I'm having like 10 or 11 people join this live video. Many more would watch the YouTube video. You guys are actually also supporting what I am doing. If I consistently do this, over time, it will move from 10 to 60, from 60 to 600, from 600 to 6,000, from 6,000 to 6 million. If I consistently do it and I build, rally more support, invest more resources in this. So it's as simple as that. Anything you start from small, it will appear as though you don't have support. It's because you're still small. By the time you're consistent and people can match that, your human being, your thinking, your doing, everything aligns together and they start believing in you, more people will start joining. More people will start joining. But you must demonstrate that integrity, that your being is the same as your thinking, as you're doing, as you're having. As long as you don't self-sabotage, you will start rallying support gradually. And then before you know it, so your support comes in the place of what? Consistency. Comes in the place of character. Comes in the place of courage to keep going. Comes from the place of excellence, building wisdom into what you're doing. Comes from the place of being compassionate, come from the place of clarity and getting a clear message to the people. Your message must be the same. And then you're rallying around whatever product or service around that message. You're able to create a platform. You're able to build a community of people. And then you're ultimately able to contribute to a cause that humanity will see clearly that you're not a selfish person. It is not just about yourself. Trust me, you will get massive support in the world. Massive support. I hope I'm able to answer your question. I love your feedback. All right. Thank you so much. Any other question, please? We're 7 minutes above an hour. I think someone is trying to unmute. Okay. If not, I want to appreciate everyone once again. Thank you so much for joining. And hopefully you get to listen to the video again and again and again. Don't forget, if you love short videos, you're probably thinking like a general mind. If you love those lengthy but intelligent, deep, detailed videos, and you're really ready to give your mind to seeing them over and over again, then you're probably on the way to transformation. Because the way to change your thinking is actually to ensure that learning marinates from your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. And when it marinates into your subconscious mind, then it becomes who you are. And who you are, human being, is actually way more important than what you do, human action. And it is better to allow who you are, your human being, to influence your human action, and your action to influence your having. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend and a great month ahead. Thanks.